Scam, though, was around with FBZ just in case they needed it. And I do agree with the playstyle of T1, right? Like, you really want to make sure Jackie just can't have the free game he's looking for.
Yeah, just slow down that farm. I think they've gotten read that Jackie is going for the Battle Fury, so he has no real presence on the jug. There's no threat of like spinning on top with the Diffusal and Inhibit to keep them inside the spin. There's no threat of an early Omni Slash with damage output. Boom, though, are starting to play as a group. They've got no blink up yet on FBZ, but he does have the arena ready, so they could look to force the issue into that tier 1.
Look at this, though, John. They're trying to bait with Jackie down to the bot lane, but it's too obvious. T1, they know exactly what's happening. Zephyr's the only one around. He'll go for the ulti out. There's the Omni Slash. In fact, never mind. It wasn't obvious enough. They do get caught out. Shackles are there. Scam, he'll be holding down Carl, but he's still fine. He'll survive. Instead, they'll take down Whitemon and Zephyr. So at least they get the storm away. And I thought T1 had read the movement, but it turns out they'll go for the relocate. They could not leave the bait alone down at bot. They do take it, and they do get hooked.
Yeah, it's way too juicy to see Jackie up there. You see a Jug trying to farm Battle Fury. You want to punish down mid.
Oh, Cuckoo getting chased down. Yopaj, he's got the double damage rune. So much damage in the puck. He's got that Witch's Blade up as well. It's a very painful experience. Look at this, John. Look at this replay.
Oh.
They did miss the spear. I think that was the one reason they didn't bother going after Carl. They just left him. Had you landed the speed, you probably would have had the damage, but without it, you just don't.
Yeah, you really don't. You've got to land everything onto Carl if you want him. But beyond that, this is the playstyle Boom needs to have for at least the next, it feels like 5 to 10 minutes. Play around those cooldowns. It's a minute long tops. So it's like every minute you've got to get that gank out with at least 2 of your cores. Play with Arena, play with Dream Coil, play with Egg, rinse and repeat every single time. You do want to start hunting Gabby down, though. He's just been farming around. He's not been contested on the CK. He's gonna have his Echo Saber up along with the Armlet into the BKB next. Once that CK hits BKB, none of your spells will stop it. So you do have to keep an eye on Gabby. You mentioned Jackie farming faster than anyone else. Right now, Gabby's just having free reign on the map, though.
I mean, this guy's a veteran, right, in the SCA scene. We've seen this man so many times at so many majors and so many TIs. You can't underestimate Gabby in this POS 1 role as Yopaj going to move in with FBZ once again onto Cuckoo, but a nice swap out. Carl is going to move in, but he's a bit too early. He gets Dream caught up. Surfboard's dropped. Gabby, he'll show up. He'll try to help out. Carl, he's going to drop on the Storm Spirit as Yopaj. He'll go for a run. Gabby going to chase him down with Cuckoo, but Yopaj still trying to find a way out, but it's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, FBZ comes back in for Cuckoo. So they do find a 2-for-2 trade. Not too bad. Both mid laners do go down, and well, I believe Boom actually end up coming out on top.
It feels rather even. I'd say it's actually favorable for T1 because you're getting some activity out from Gabby. You're getting him to use those early items he picked up, and you're starting to get that investment back from your CK. So he shows up. He's a massive presence. You don't have the damage to deal with him yet. And in contrast, your Jug is just kind of trying to farm up where he can. So you're not getting that added presence yet from Jackie. You are still waiting for the Battle Fury. And even after the Battle Fury, it does feel like the Jug's gonna need 1 or 2 more items on top. You know, you're not in a solid position yet. I'd say the Ags feels like it's gonna be necessary if you are focusing on that right click on the Jug. T1 for their part, I mean, they're not dissuaded, Mike. They're still running around as 3, running around as 4. You've got the Arcane Rune up for Carl now. So he is pretty much ready to go. Triple Null, Arcane Rune, and Bottle. Nothing will stop this man.
Oh, certainly not. Jonathan Carl going to move up towards the north immediately. We'll find Scam. Be a nice pick off here. And Scam, you kind of talked about this earlier, John, but it's not going to be so easy to be able to farm up something like a Blink Aether on the POS 5 Shadow Shaman. And for T1, they're doing a great job of being able to constantly hunt this man down and make that timing even slower. But there is going to be a smoke. Boom Esports, they see T1. They want to force the fight. They've hit some great timings here with their Mars and their Puck. Plenty of damage available, as they will find Whitemon immediately. Whitemon, he won't have a tether target, so he does get locked down. But he does do a successful job of tanking the gank for the rest of the team. You'd have to argue for Boom. That's not a great smoke attempt at all.
No, and it's a valiant attempt. They don't manage to find the right here to cut off. You really want to pin down Carl or Gabby. I'd say your point about Venge is a bigger one, Mike. He is 2 parts into the Ags. Cuckoo's got a lot of room to farm up, not showing up to these fights and not dying as much. So your Venge is about to hit critical mass as well, on top of your CK getting into that BKB, and even Carl getting into his BKB. once that spell immunity's up, Boom's strategy of just running and gunning with her ults, it's not going to pan out. And that's when the draft starts to feel really shaky. Level 25 for Puck is still a long ways off.
Oh, Cuckoo gonna get caught. Do they have a stun? Yeah, they will. Yopaj, he'll show up with the Dream Call, and once again, they'll be able to hunt down the Vengeful Spirit. Happy days. That's a much better gank attempt there for Boom, and it's something we talked about during the draft as well, John. It's going to be heavily reliant here for Yopaj and the Mars on FBZ to try and make sure they can set a tempo in this game. Right now with a 5k net worth lead, it's looking darn good for them.
Yeah, they're really managing to just force all the resources of T1 onto Gabby alone. But again, you've got the other cores are just so sacrificial. It's Avenge, it's a Storm. They don't need much to really get going. So despite that 5k lead, it still feels like T1 has a lot going for them. BKB for Carl is not too far off now. And the Ags again for Avenge, one part away.
Oh, Carl's going to be very careful. He's low on mana. He'll be able to back off in time. John, another point we've got to make here as well. Like, you talked about Gabby with all the net worth. Look at Jackie. Look how fast he's caught up.
Man. Yeah, it's the difference of having that battle free up on your jug. So he's managed to catch up to a CK who, you know, before the Echo Saber just wasn't fighting, wasn't showing up to anything, just farming up. And Jackie's had a rough time from the start. You know, his lane wasn't the best. He didn't manage to get that initial farm. If this does keep up, the Jug will have a really nice power spike by the time he gets 2 items in. Bit of a smoke play out from Boom, though. And then, again, really good read of their draft, just playing with her team fight spells. Got to find bigger heroes with this gank, though.
Oh, here we go up the top lane. Depoy going to be on the front side here for the team. Oh, they're going to find Gabby. That's the target they wanted. Yopaj will make the jump in, but Whitemon already with the relocate, trying to find a way out. Tether is there. Oh, he got stunned up. Oh, he snapped the coil, John. He didn't time it right.
Yep.
Yopaj, he made sure to commit the Dream Call on the IO. And Whitemon, he tried to time it perfectly before the coil snaps with the tether. I think he was like 0.1 of a millisecond. It was so tight.
Yeah, not tight enough, and they managed to find that big corb. So they get the big kill that they've really neglected this entire game, giving that first step out onto Gabby. And now you're even comfy enough for Jackie to start showing up here. So just rinse and repeat. Boom has been finding fights every minute, Mike.
Yeah.
Every single time Dream Coil's off cooldown, Yopaj is on the case, and they have to maintain that pace for, again, up until the 25-minute mark, it feels like. Once those BKB start rolling in, as we're already seeing Carl's BKB, it starts to get tough. Like, your Puck's level 25 is still 10 levels away. That's, what, 20, 25 minutes down the line. They are gunning for the Roche. You do have the Shadow Shaman on your side, so no wards up. But Jug can still get the work done at least. Not as fast, though. There's some opportunity here for T1 to respond if they want.
Well, they've got to hurry up, John. It's already halfway there. T1, are they coming? It seems like they are.
Oh, they smoked in the reward.
Oh, boy. That's a bit rough for him. See what they can get done as they are going to try and move in. Carl, he's going to be there. They do jump in. Great Hex out. Cuckoo, he's going to try and swap him out. He's done a great job of it, but can they get out of there? Jackie, he'll be rooted up, but it's not looking good. T1, they've got to try and find a way to fight back. On FBZ they go. He'll fight back, though. He'll stand his ground. There's the egg out from Tim's, stunning them up. They can't get the Mars. Whitemon's down. Gabby can't get out either. A triple kill out for Yopaj. And a happy days here for Boom Esports. So they'll take the Roshan down. Aegis up on Jackie. You couldn't have asked for much more.
That was some perfect timing on the smoke break. Yopaj jumping out right as they wanted to come in, using that ward that scouted out the smoke in such a big way. And you can see that again, that fight was just perfectly executed. The patience from FBZ to get the spear back, to lock in Gabby at the end of the fight, his positioning to dodge off that damage walking through the arena walls, just so much at work. And T1, again, it looked like they had a smooth ride in this game. They were getting some good farm on their course, just dropping like flies now.
Yeah, now Zephyr to drop as well. Very, very painful here so far for T1. 10k behind. They had such an aggressive draft to get started. We loved the draft during the draft phase, but Boom Esports, they came to play today, and my God, are they playing.
Now they have, it feels like T1's just not getting on the aggression anymore. They're not as confident perhaps with where their heroes are at. Maybe once they get this BKB on their CK, that starts to feel a lot better. You do have the Ags up on Cuckoo, so you're willing to be much more sacrificial on Avenge. We need to see T1 take initiative. You know, they've got that relocate play. We haven't seen that in a while, and I think they've got to be able to get that done Just be the aggressors. Maybe not while this Aegis is up. Once it does settle down, you could have that opportunity. You know that the Jug can't fight without the Omni Slash.
Yeah.
With only spin, he's not safe. There's so many ways to go through that spell immunity. So you can punish Jackie, and you do have those BKBs piling up on T1. So you're dropping losses here and there right now, but with the spell immunity on the CK and Storm, it's a different story.
Cuckoo, he's been caught out again. He's got the Axe up, but he's going to lose his first life immediately. Maybe he can keep the Remnant alive, but no, FBZ, not going to allow it. He wants everything. As Cuckoo, he'll swap his way back in. They're going to try and fight. Carl, he'll go in on the Shaman, but with the BKB, it's just not going to work. He's got to get out of there. And so Jackie, he'll move high ground now. You've got no BKB available on the Storm. It's a very hard defense for T1.
It's a toughie. I mean, you could run in with your CK with his fresh BKB. They need to find a really good angle for the Overgrowth here. You don't have anything like a blink up yet. On Zephyr, he's saving up for a Hex. He's not even going for a blink or any utility here on hand.
Oh, Yopaj trying to move in and snipe somebody. That'll be the top lane of Barracks to go down. Luckily, they can't go for too much more. They're just going to have to back their way out.
You might click on Zephyr. Like, he has 3.3k in the bank. He's just going for...
Well, I apologize, Jonathan. It seems like the minimap's kind of messed up right now, so sadly it's fogged up at the moment. I apologize for that. I've pressed the wrong button, apparently. Have no idea what the right button is to fix it now.
No problem. You know, it happens. But I want to point out, Zephyr right now is sitting on 3.4k worth of gold. He's rushing that Hex. So he's going Hex on the Treant first. No blink. No utility, no refresh, no Ags. Just wants that instant lockdown for, I'm assuming, Yopaj, who has been slippery. So we'll see if that pays off. It does feel like T1 doesn't have a clear way of starting fights. They've got Relocate, they've got Swap, they haven't seen those opportunities. Overgrowth could be a big way in that.
Oh, Gabby, he's in the middle of all this. Omni Slash is out. He's popped his BKB, but the damage is flying in, Gabby. He's going to be able to get his way out, but now onto Zephyr they go. Cuckoo, he's going to try to have to run. FBZ, that's a great spear out. Onto the tier 3 tower. Lock him down. Cuckoo, he'll at least get the Remnant away. But he's going to lose his initial life once again as they'll move onto the high ground. They want that second lane of Barracks. Boom. They know how powerful they are right now. There's just no stopping them. They won't wait for these Storm shenanigans later on. So you are still seeing the zip through here from Cuckoo. But eventually, Boom, gonna look to get their way out. Or do they stick around, perhaps? It doesn't seem like it.
And they've still got time in that Aegis, about 50 seconds left, so they could make maybe a play onto the tier 2 bot, start to open up the high ground a little bit more. On the side of T1, without Overgrowth being popped, it just doesn't feel like you're finding these fights anymore. Like, again, you've got the BKBs ready. You've got to use them on both of your cores at the right opportune moment to get that jump onto Boom. They don't have a way of piercing through that spell immunity. You just need to be able to pin someone down, but Boom's aggression has just been so consistently coming out. Like, almost every single minute, they've been forcing that aggression out, and T1 just, it doesn't feel like they have an answer. It doesn't feel like they're ready to fight yet, despite having that early BKB, despite having the Ags on the bench. They're still on the defensive, and I think it goes back to something we heard from regional finals there, Mike. You know, we were talking to teams for the interviews. Everyone pointed out T1 likes to play a slower game, even with Gabby in, and it does feel like we're seeing that here, that big distinction in the playstyle. Boom, just constant aggression, every single minute a fight. Whereas T1's just sitting back and farming. It's not holding up well against that aggression here.
Right. Update on the minimap issue, ladies and gentlemen. I am currently trying to get it resolved, but turns out we might have to wait for the second game, so I'll do the old switcheroony just to be able to see what the hell's going on here between these two teams. But as you can see, Boom, we're in a very confident position now. And Jackie just so far ahead of Gabby, just about 5k net worth ahead, in fact. Pretty rough affair. See if they want to go high ground again. It does seem like Boom want to try and make it happen. They aren't making their way up yet. It's still scary against the Storm, but top lane, Yopaj, he's going to find Gabby. Dreamcall is not up at the moment. Gabby still trying to fight back, does have to stun, but a nice juke out, and now FBZ, great spear out. They've got the Chaos Knight. Gabby, he needs a way out of this, but oh, he pops his BKB. He has buyback jump, but he doesn't have BKB.
Yeah, it's tough. He didn't use it earlier. And if he just popped BKB and ran while Yopaj was playing around with him, he would have been perfectly safe. Again, no BKB piercing from any hero from Boom until he hit that level 25 mark on the puck. But it just doesn't matter. Boom, they're in their heads. Good swap out, but it's on the job.
Here we go. Jackie gonna move in. Not gonna be able to finish off Cuckoo. Meanwhile, Tims. No, Tims does get Cuckoo. Never mind. The Fire Spirit damage is gonna be enough. So they move in once again. Boom Esports. Swap out, Jackie. Gonna be fine. It's just the remnant of Cuckoo trying to pick somebody off, but there's FBZ to drag it back. Try to take it down. Jackie, he'll move in. Carl trying to help out. Coil's there. Cuckoo gonna try and survive, but he's down. Zephyr in the meantime has the scythe device up. They're trying onto FBZ, but he's still alive. Great Spear out. The Sun Ray, it'll keep him up the whole time. They just can't deal with the spine of Boom Esports. FBZ, the FB CEO, is not going down, Jonathan.
No, he definitely isn't. Mike just been setting up all the plays with his spears. I have to say, T1's targeting is a bit... It's not ideal. They're swapping in the jug. He's always got the spin. Jackie's been very patient with when to pop that spin in these pushes, knowing that, all right, just wait for the swap, spin afterwards, you're good to go. They're going to have to expend Overgrowth if they really want that kill, and it's a massive cooldown to commit. You do have the Hex up on Zephyr now. So he does have that capability to just instantly lock someone down, and T1 is smoking around that item here.
But they are. See what they can find here, T1. They're going to wait very patiently. Boom Esports, of course, on the high ground of the Radiant Triangle right now. They understand the smoke is probably happening. T1 still very, very patient. Trying to hold that high ground. Boom. Gonna go for a counter smoke here. This could be a very scary scenario now. T1, are they gonna expect this? Running towards the right direction. Gabby, he cannot afford to die. He can't afford it. He does have the BKB TP away if he does need to.
Oh, Yopaj.
Not gonna find anyone either. While we do have a second John, I believe I can actually fix the fog if we do get there.
Let's get to it, Mike. Get to it. We all see your settings. We'll pretend it's not you.
Yeah.
Go on, Observer.
I'm trying to find out where it is.
It's the Observer. It's not you, Mike.
Yeah, the Observer. Can't be me. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Just trying to find out exactly where the hell this damn button is.
Spectator.
Where is it, John?
Spectator. Lower right. Lower right window. There. Lower right. Lower.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, John.
There you go. Fog for both teams.
Oh, there
F1.
it is. F1. There
Yes,
we
sir.
go. Look at that. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you are getting a live tutorial on how to do observing in Dota 2. Don't follow my instructions, though. As you can see, we've had a bit of a rough time. Maybe ask John.
You could try. Chances are I won't see. Still, Roche goes the way of Boom once more. Aegis on hand now for Jackie, ready to go onto that high ground. Still a challenge, though, Mike. You've still got that Storm zipping in and out, clearing out the creep waves. 4 nulls, a bottle, and BKB into the Ags. I mean, what more can you ask for this hero, Mike? It's perfectly set for the high ground siege.
Jackie gonna take one already. No problem. He'll stick around for the next. Healing ward already out. Cuckoo, he'll go for a swap. They want FBZ once again with the Dream Core. Yopaj in with a big one. Now the Omni slash out. Just going right to the backside. Zephyr's gone. They do at least find FBZ though. Cuckoo dropping low is gonna drop to boot. That'll be 2 down, but they do still have the Venge Remnant. Carl, all he can do right now is keep zipping through and hoping for the best. They will swap in Jackie. That's a big pick-off. They'll get the Aegis down. That'll be 1. Yopaj in the meantime, right onto Whitemon, but is unable to finish off the kill. But now with the Aegis down, Boom Esports, they probably won't stick around. Oh, Jackie, he's stuck. Oh, Jackie's stuck. He's all right. He'll phase shift. He'll be fine, John. My good, I was a little bit worried there for a second.
gotta keep that tension up. You know, Boom likes making things exciting. T1 on a bit of a bad spot right now, Mike. I mean, they can get some good defense out. I like that change up from Coop. He stops swapping Jackie. He starts to look for FBZ. You need to pin down those playmakers. Stop the Mars, stop the puck, and then the fight opens up for T1. So gotta find that angle. Really difficult with Yopaj, again, just going in and out on this puck, making this hero look so damn good right
Here
now.
we
The
go.
smoke's out though.
Gabby, he's in. The Phoenix being caught out. Skem going to try and help out as Tim's. He's surviving, at least for now, but the Scythe device is there. Boom, Jackie, he will at least try for one. They do get the Venge. The respawn is coming. Meanwhile, Gabby back onto the Juggernaut, but FBZ, he's back into the team fight. Scythe device is there. They've got the CK locked down. Gabby, he needs some help, but he's not going to get it. Zephyr down to boot. 2 down without buyback. Zephyr, he can commit his own, but it's a very, very rough defense to come now for T1 as they go for more. The Idol. Again, John, you don't tip this man early. He's on the hunt. He wants a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you tip him that early, you end up sometimes regretting it. Carl been having a bit of a rough time. They do get to swap out.
They've got the Ags on Carl. They want that AoE Vortex, but they're going to lose Cuckoo again as Carl. He'll jump in, but where's your backup damage? It's not there. In goes the Sunray. In goes the Carl. Oh, he gets caught out. He's down without buyback. That's it. GG's called. They've had enough. Boom Esports. They woke up on the right side of the bed today, Jonathan. A great game one from this team.
Yeah, they play spectacularly well. The draft, you and I thought maybe it was a little bit better for T1. They had the CK, they had the combinations with the IO. We're seeing some good relocate plays early on from T1. Their aggression was ramping up. Gabby was finding the farm, and Jackie was going Battlefield. You know, it just felt like the game was going a bit too slow for Boom, and then Yopaj just goes online.
Yeah.
You know, Yopaj just starts running around. FBZ gets his blink. He's on top of everyone. The Arena egg combinations, the Dream Coil egg combinations, all on point. And again, Boom played almost every minute, every single time Dream Coil was off, they would just go hunting.
Yeah.
And they'd start to punish. And for T1, it felt like there was that window where double BKBs were up, Ags on the Venge was up. They didn't manage to take initiative. They didn't force these fights onto Boom. They were always responding to Boom coming in onto them.
Yeah.
And by the time T1 took those smoke plays, it felt too late.
It was a very rough affair there for T1, and I mean, what can you do, right? Like, they tried their absolute best. I thought that Ralph was fantastic. I mean, Gabby, he was farming like a madman. He had the freest lane of his life, but at the end of the day, you're still against Jackie. We know how this man farms, John. You get that initial farming item, he's skyrocketing. Stonks are going up.
Oh, yeah.
Yopaj, you tip him once, he's going to get upset. He's looking for revenge every single time, and of course, FBZ. I mean, you've got to give props to Yopaj and FBZ. We talked about it during the draft. If they were going to win this game, they needed to make work happen, and my God, they did.
Oh yeah, they just play so great as a unit. Like, that communication, that bonding we saw Boom go through while they were together, it's really shaping up. And
yeah,
again, like, this is not the worst. It's not a bad draft, but it had to be played to such a high level, and Boom just delivered on every single level.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jonathan, we are going to head off to a very short break. Of course, you and I, we've got to get into the Twitch chat, maybe spam some Batchester emotes, but we are going to head off to a short break. Right after that break, we'll be back with, of course, game number 2 between T1 and Boom Esports.
You love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are moving in for game number 2 very, very soon here between Boom Esports and, of course, T1. And it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. Jonathan, I mean, game 1, I guess we could have
It's you now.
I've been taken care of for once. Oh my goodness. MLP Dota and MLP Dota. Amazing. There we go, Jonathan. How does it feel to actually be good?
I don't feel good. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Yeah, 2 mics on hand this time around, not 2 Johns. We've shifted things around, and things shifted around for Boom as well. Played a fantastic game 1, despite having a much harder draft to play. Right? It's so tempo-based. It was so defined by that aggression every single minute, and Boom just delivered. Whereas T1, they went in with a classic, right? They had a Treant Protector, they had this really good stall. Gabby had some really good farm, just didn't pan out. I mean, they even had the IO Storm mic, just not enough.
It certainly wasn't, John. I mean, we loved the draft, but well, we'll have a look at the results here, the scoreboard. I mean, Cuckoo had a very rough time. We can't lie about that. I mean, I suppose it is the POS revenge. You are kind of expected to die. 1-11 though, not the greatest KDA there. Carl, you know, great start. Not so much a great finish on the Storm, and you know, Gabby as well, John. I mean, he had a fantastic bit of farm going for himself, ends up 4-4, getting caught out a couple times. Very awkward situations happening there for Gabby. Other side of things, though, look back at the idol, John. 18-3-11. You tip this man.
Oh, yeah.
He went 18-3-11. That's what happens. Be careful.
I mean, the one great thing about Yopaj as well, right? Like, he's a young kid. He's a very, very calm kid. Right, this is actually a good comparison because Carl, he's an explosive player.
Yeah.
You know, he's an old school Filipino land player. He's much more in your face. He loves the trash talk. He loves the all chat. He loves the voice lines. So he rides in that momentum. Whereas you try to do that to Yopaj, he'll just stay calm and he gets angry inside.
Yeah.
But it does motivate him more. And I think it's just really exciting to see those 2 generations clash. Every single time we see Carl versus Yopaj play, it's that 2 generations of Filipino Dota players up against it, and it's always great to see.
It certainly is, John. It's a lot of fun. John, if I may, I'm just going to address one thing. Someone did tweet at me saying, how does it take 30 minutes to fix the observing? The answer is very simple. We're incompetent. That's all it is. My apologies.
It is what it is. You've got to add an I somewhere there on the MLP, Mike.
Why is that?
For the incompetent part.
Oh, shut up, you. Shut up. My joke to make about myself, Jonathan. You don't get to pile on to me like that.
I get to. I'm Rafi Tulfo, Mike. I'm a senator. All right, you don't argue with this. I've got the barong, man. I'm all set up for that.
No political discussion in the chat, please. Just
Of
avoid that. We don't chat anyway. It's a great time, though. I mean, game number 2, going into game 2, at least for T1, John, we liked their draft. I believe Twitch chat liked the draft. At least they thought T1 was going to win. I believe the stats were 67%. That T1 was going to pull off the victory. What do they need to change up to try and get a draw this series?
They've got to play faster. Like, T1 took such a turtling strat out in that game. They hit those BKB timings on Carl and Gabby, and they just didn't play with it. And they used those BKBs early on defensively. They weren't the ones jumping in. Zephyr went really greedy going for the Hex, which, again, understandable to instantly lock in the Jug or the Puck before the spin or the Puck just jumps away. But because you lack something like a Blink Overgrowth, you had no good setup to build your foundation for the team fights. You had to kind of skirmish in, Carl jump in, BKB, hope for the best, and just kind of follow through. And it just became so hard with Boom having the initiative.
Yeah.
So I think T1's has got to have someone who can start these fights on a bigger scale outside of just the Storm Zip Vortex. Like, with the Ags, Carl could have done that, but it took a little bit longer for that Ags to come through. BKBs were already up, and they were pretty far behind at that point.
It was a very rough time. You're seeing some replays here, and they were just trying their best so many times. Look at this, FBZ, not dying. Spear Ray on Gabby, Sunray healing him up. He just walks out of there. He's the CEO, John. You don't just get to deal with the CEO like that. Meanwhile, Jackie, I mean, he's obviously an apprentice right now here, Jackie. Kind of getting stuck there, you know. Not a great look on your first day, Jackie. I mean, this is his first major after all, Jonathan. Right?
Yep.
Get it together, Jackie. Right? We've seen some awkward situations with you on majors. Let's not let that happen again.
Remember, right when Boom qualified earlier, Skev took that screenshot of that announcement and said, "Thank you, Jackie."
Yeah.
He must have gotten some PTSD right there.
Yeah, we'd love to thank Jackie for all his hard work at Boom Esports. It's time to say goodbye. Well, What can you do? Just WCYD. That's what you've got to add.
WCY. What can you do, brother? As we say.
What can you do?
Yeah, exactly. Gotta watch it. Of course, you know, Mushi's always there to discipline as well. And I think, on that note, T1, they've got March.
Yeah.
We know how March works.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big cuddly bear, but behind the scenes, he's got that whip. He's ready to make you pay. He's got the mango crates ready.
Yeah.
Force feeding you. You didn't play this way? Here you go. Eat the mangoes, damn it. Eat it.
Raise that IQ a little bit. Get that mana going. I mean, we love March, Jonathan, but he definitely has a dark side. That's for sure. I mean, you've got nice friendly March, and then you've got Dad March. And Dad March, you come home with that failed math test, John, he's not happy. He's a very upset man. Belt's coming off.
Going all the way off, pants on the floor because of that. And he's just going at it, you know, going to work. It is what it is. And T1, they've got to shape up again. They're in a better position than Boom, so it does feel like the series doesn't weigh as much for them. It's much more pressure on Boom to find that 2-0 to secure an upper bracket start. So whether or not T1's as motivated as Boom is up in the air. I think Boom's definitely the hungry ones. They came in a bit slower on these groups, you know, maybe a bit jet lagged, maybe a bit tired, starting to show up a little bit more, but they need to keep that momentum. Whereas T1, it almost feels like a pretty sure thing they're going to make it up to upper brackets anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, we are going to head off to a very short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2's draft between T1 and Boom Esports. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back here for Boom Esports versing T1 for game number 2 of this Rambulan of the Stockholm Major. Very, very happy days here for us, Jonathan. We love watching these SEA matchups, and it's been a great series so far. Boom Esports able to take it 1-0 so far. We talked to Zach earlier. He needs these 2-0 victories to start climbing through the ladder. He was talking to us. He was getting a little bit nervous about the standings for Boom Esports. They're off to a good start.
Yeah, they're definitely setting pace. If they drop here, a draw, not the worst result.
Right.
This kind of stabilizes their position, still looking good. Still going to have to hope for a draw at the least in their next matchup. But you want that 2-0. You're Boom, you're the hungry beast. You want to get that win, and T1 wants to find that draw. We're already having a bit of the draft on hand here, Mike. Already seeing that Nature's Treant Protector once more for T1 coming out. So it's that stable here. They flex it between Zephyr and Whitemon on the 4 and 5. But Boom, though. Shadow Shaman, the FBZ special, one of his special. He has so many specialties. But the Brewmaster coming out again. Every single time we see this guy brew, it's just complete and utter madness. Like, FBZ's just always on point with a micro. He always gets his itemization right on time, and he dominates the lane as well.
He certainly does, John. It's very tough going against that Brewmaster. And, well, T1, they're going to go into the Razor and Treant Protectors. You're going to see Cook having a bit of a laugh to himself there. What's going on there? What are they laughing about?
I don't know. You know them.
Yeah.
Those guys are always having fun. I mean, even March is having fun. We talked about him being disciplinarian.
Surprising.
Yeah, he's having fun. Looks like a bit of a lighter tone here for T1. Maybe they were like, all right, we just woke up. You know, we didn't see them at breakfast.
Yeah.
We saw Boom. We saw Fnatic. You know, they were having fun, but T1 didn't quite have breakfast yet. So maybe this is their wake-up call. Warming up a bit. We do see the Razor picked up by T1 as well. Could be our Gabby hero on the safe lane all ready to deal with a Brewmaster lane matchup. Pretty good for the Razor. You could play with Nature's Prophet the Treant Protector really well. I've been mixing that up for such a long time, Mike.
Yeah, you certainly have, Jonathan.
They're just about tree people, you know?
They are tree people, Jonathan, but you
confusing.
can't just mix them up. They're not all the same, John.
That's true.
You can't do that.
I'm just bad with names and faces.
I mean, they are both garbage heroes, though. Let's be fair. They are both trash heroes.
Hey, Nature's Prophet is fun. Level 20 talent, I will stand by it. When that came out, when we saw it in not even CDPC, like Pro Series 10, or even before that, when we first saw it there, I was like, this level 20 talent's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't put Nature's Prophet down there. He does have some use, Mike.
Yeah, you know what an actual trash hero looks like, John?
What?
Earth Spirit.
Straight to the
I don't
bin.
even remember what the level 25 talent is because I never get there, John. At level 25, they probably give you +1 boulder or something. Just like, here's a rock. Enjoy.
Here's a rock. Have fun with yourself.
Don't use it too quick. Don't use it too quick. You're not going to get any more.
But the strength scaling, Mike.
Oh, that's
on mid.
Yeah. Oh. So good.
God, I love that we did get to see that, and that we'll never see it again until it gets buffed.
Yeah.
Just never again.
Nope. Never again. And we're never going to see it get buffed, John. Because it's Earth Spirit. God forbid. Still, we'll see some more bans to come out. I doubt we see an Earth Spirit coming out here by the side, but I suppose you'd never know. One of these teams might overhear us and go, hold on a minute. These idiots are talking again. Let me prove them wrong.
I would love to see the Yopaj Earth Spirit mid. You know, it was Yopaj and Abed when he was staying in C for a while.
Yeah.
That really ran it like 2 years ago. So I would love to see it.
Yeah.
But we're probably not going to see it. Boom needs to win, Mike.
Yeah.
That's not a winning move.
No, it certainly is not a winning move, let me tell you guys. An Earth Spirit spammer. There's no winning with this hero. Still more bans to come out. Pos 1's being focused here by T1. The Chaos Knight Terrorblade being removed. What else do they want? Seems like all the focus is on Jackie, and this is something we've always said against Boom. You've got to decide who to focus on. Do we want to focus on... In fact, there's 3 people, really. Jackie, Yopaj, or FBZ. Which one's more scary? Which one do we want to shut down? So far, T1 seems like they want to shut down Jackie in the second phase of bans. Fair enough. But then you've got the Idol to worry about.
Yep.
Then you've got the FBZ Brewmaster to worry about. God forbid Tim's gets a Mirana, which was already banned out, mind you. But God forbid it happens. It's scary.
It is scary. Like, you have to watch out for everyone. I think the only person you don't specifically ban on Boomset tends to be Skem, because he's the pause 5. You don't really want to waste those bans there. Do you see the Grimstroke coming out now for Boom? So, again, a bit of a toss-up. Maybe Skem plays that pause 5 Shadow Shaman once more, but double Shackles, double Hex, and if you do use the ward properly, I believe double wards, right? If you point target, not area target the wards, it might reflect. I think I feel like I've been told it does work, but I've just never seen it. So potentially there, probably wrong. But you do have that early Roche as well, and just double Hex, double Shackles is already pretty big.
It certainly is, John. And even I believe you can double Tornado some with the Brewmaster split as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Double Stones.
Yeah, it is a thing. So you got to be a bit wary because you imagine, you know how long that Tornado lasts. In the middle of a team fight, you're just removing someone for what, like 8 seconds?
Yeah.
2 people, just gone.
Ooh.
Spectre comes out though. This hero's made a reappearance during the major to everyone's surprise.
Oh yeah.
Such a low win rate in pubs right now, but I suppose pubs don't really matter when it comes to the pro meta. Spectre's back. You've got 2 very squishy supports on the side of Boom Esports that should be very easy to take out with the Spectre. Problem is, you do have the counter lockdown. You do have a Brewmaster who can just let the Spectre fly in the air for a while. But I still think the Spectre is a pretty darn good pick here for T1.
Yeah, it allows them to really play aggressive, play around a haunt. You've got the option to always work towards the Ags. You know, that old aggressive buildup is still available for T1. And I like that they take this Jakiro as well. So they've got push coming through, something their lineup severely lacks with Razor and Spec, at least until Razor gets some like his own Ags, which is way down the line.
Look at the Twitch chat, John.
Oh.
They can't decide. Very, very even affair.
Yeah. It really is close, though. Like, again, historically, these 2 teams, when they play a best of 3s, by game 2, it's 1-1. And this is a best of 2. Boom doesn't want that 1-1, but that tends to happen. T1 always seems to find a way to bounce back by game 2.
Yeah, that they do. And look at this. I mean, 48%. Oh, it's going up. Boom Esports. So the fans are covered. The T1. Where's the T1 fans? Where are they? Get in there.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Void Spirit. Here it comes.
Yeah.
I believe the stat yesterday was 6 out of 7. Void Spirit did lose yesterday.
Yeah.
Before yesterday, it was 6 out of 6 in terms of win.
Yeah.
Now 6 out of 7 during the major.
It's been doing well in the majors, but we were having that conversation with, again, you know, a few of the C boys. I think Pow was the one who was like, I can't believe Void Spirit's back, you know. Killed a mage, Fnatic was like, I can't believe this hero's back. None of my players like it.
Yeah.
But it's apparently back and it's good, so hey. Boom, of course, Yopaj plays a very mean Void Spirit. I am keen to see what they expect on mid, because you could run Razor mid now for Carl. You could run that off lane for Cuckoo. So it's still pretty open as to where you want to toss a Razor. Even the Spectre, like Mizu used to run that offlane Spec as a 1.
Yeah.
And with a Razor on hand, you can play that greedy offlane, have the Razor just BKB and run around and fight. So T1 has that lane flexibility on hand here.
That they do. Final banouts to come though, John. Anti-Mage being removed surprisingly from T1. That seems like a free win if they did pick up Anti-Mage, but you know, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why you do that. Like, are you eyeing something really greedy? Like, I don't see anything with high mana pool left unless they go like Dusa.
Uh-oh, look at that, Jonathan.
Oh.
T1, the fans have come along. T1 fighting. Where's the Boom fans? Get that Boom fans, get in there.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah, jump in.
We've got to get going. They are moving their way back up. I mean, it's not about who you're actually thinking it's going to win. When it comes to SEA fans, it's all about just winning.
Yes.
Right? If you're a Boom fan, you're a T1 fan. Who cares who wins? I've got to win this this prediction vote. That's
Yep.
all that matters.
That's what you got to do. Get those votes in for your side. I mean, if you like T1, go ahead. But if you're a Boom fan, you guys are falling behind a bit. Get on it. Gary's not pleased with his numbers. Gary's a numbers guy.
Yeah.
And that
Well-
CEO means, you know, if it ain't going his way, he's going to get pretty upset.
I mean, speaking of numbers not going his way, John, don't look at the crypto market right now. It's a rather depressing scene.
Oh, poor Gary.
Sorry, Gary. Hope you didn't lose too much, Gary. I certainly did. Still, DP to be picked up here from T1. Boom Esports. Final pickup. Pos 1 necessary here for Jackie. Anything kind of come out to you, John? Any kind of pick here against the Spectre DP that looks good for you?
It's a bit of a tough one. Both of these heroes really jump onto those big cores really nicely. They collapse onto those big physical cores. Jackie loves really well. Deuce is an option if they want to go that route.
50-50.
So they could get in. It's so dead even. This is what we want to see. Just leave it there.
Fight
That's
to
the
the
magic
death.
number.
Fight to the death, boys.
No. Stay calm. It's fine now.
No.
Cool down, guys.
Fight
50-50.
to the death. Fight.
There you go. 51 for Boom.
Your Boom's
Oh,
support. Whoever wins gets trash talking rights in the chat. That's
Absolutely.
It's an SEA pub, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about winning. This is the post-game chat after the game where you won and you spam easy game, ha ha ha, wook. You know how it goes, John.
Yeah. I mean, it's still the draft, but you know they start saying there anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Like easy game 2-0 already. It's like, all right, guys, you guys know it. Our job's done. We're gonna walk away now. It's all set.
Oh god, I love this game. It's always just the best, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's the best region. Like, what can you do?
It certainly is the best region, John. No bias.
No
Don't let
bias.
the Europeans hear that. They get very upset.
They would. They would.
Oh!
Oh!
Wow. Faces Void to come out here for Jackie. A very unexpected pickup. John, I don't know how to feel about this. Into Spectre, we've seen the matchup before. Void versus Spec, it can be a bit of a rough affair, I feel. That dispersion just kind of knocking so much damage back your way, and it might feel a little bit slow. Mind you, you don't have a great way of locking down this Faces Void this game. You've got a DP Silence, you've got Ice Path from Jakiro, and you've got the Overgrowth Train Protector. That's about it. It's not the most sustainable way of holding down Jackie.
Yeah, it certainly isn't, but my worry is the early game fights for Jackie aren't going to feel great. Right? Even if you itemize, say, Maelstrom and Mask of Madness, you don't tend to get both. Sometimes you do. But even with that, if you don't manage to catch, like, say, the Treant in that chrono, you try to jump in the Spec. Like you said, Dispersion will just do its job. You can't burst down the Spectre too fast. If the Razor does manage to get the static link before the chrono comes in, your damage is completely gone as well. T1 does have the answers, but we kind of said the same thing about Boom in the first game draft, right? Like, it felt like their draft was harder to do.
Yeah.
They still did it really well anyway. I think compared to game one, though, T1 does have a much stronger draft overall. Like, the draft advantage feels bigger. It's all going to come down to execution.
Hold on, but before we do get into the game, do we have a winner for the predictions? Because the chat is going to want to know exactly who won. I believe Boom was ahead last time we checked by like 53%. Do we have an indefinite winner? Do we have the stat? We need trash talking rights right now. It's very important, let me tell you.
Those fans are waiting. If not, they'll just get to it, you know?
I think it was Boom. I think it was Boom that won the prediction.
Yeah, it looked like 53 at the end, I suppose. So it's pretty close, but...
Boy.
Whoa, that swing.
Boy.
The draft.
I've debated the Boom supporters.
They're not going to be happy, Mike. You
Get
already
him,
said
T1.
it.
Go get him.
You
Let him
already
know.
said it. Gary's having a bad day on the market. You're baiting him in to believe he won the chat war, and now they don't.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Boom supporters. I completely debated the...
Oh, dude, Scam is just already asking, give the tip. He's saying, the guy went out, give the tip. Give it. Give it already. Let's go.
We'll see if Carl can get his revenge. So there's going to be a big team fight, it seems. Zephyr going to spawn out Jackie. This is a classic SEA 5v5 situation before the game even starts. They are going to hang around that tier 1 top tower as Boom. They're actually the ones backing off. Carl. He's an expert with the voice lines, Carl. He always finds the right one.
That he does. Every single time, every opportunity he does have, he always pops his voice lines. You do have good vision here from T1 to watch that wraparound from Boom. So they're going to be in a position where they can snag more bounties. Boom not quite in a very good forward position. FBZ can at least maybe snag that bot Reveroon. They kind of cover their bases here.
Yeah, they do. Going to be a 2-for-2 trade, I believe, on the bounties. As you will be able to get a double bounty here for FPZ. Is I love you too, Whiteman. I can't help myself. I've got to say it.
Yeah. The moment you stop, it's going to be the moment when your wife says I love you. So you got to keep going, Mike.
Yeah.
You got to stay consistent there.
I'm getting people messaging me right now saying I love you. I mean, shout out to Christian, I suppose, who just messaged me saying the same thing. There you go, Christian. Shout out to you, sir. Shout out to the boys as well. They know who they are.
Absolutely. You do see the lanes break out here, Mike. No love in these lanes left as they are going to start fighting true for the creeps. Do have FBZ on that Brewmaster once more, along with Tim's on his Grimstroke up against Gabby on that Spectre safe lane, along with Whitemon on the Jakiro. It can be a really aggressive lane here for Boom. You've got Inkswell combination, Stroke of Fate to line up on a melee carry trying to farm. Really easy to line up. Whitemon and Gabby do have some options, though. If you can get the dagger off, maybe by level 3 with the damage output of the Jakiro and the slows, that could be a good chase opportunity. Maybe not onto the Brewmaster, but certainly onto the Grimstroke. Much more squishy target to pin off in the backline.
Yeah, certainly could be. We'll see how this bot lane goes a little bit later on, John. Of course, we've got to keep an eye out for the mid lane. This is the one. Skem was asking for the tips to fly out again. High fives going around here between Carl and the tower. Carl, obviously after that game 1, needs revenge. We know how SEA games go. You've got to get that revenge play going.
Yeah, you've got to get that done. And it's a stable lane for the DP. It's not something you lose out on, but Yopaj is getting some good aggression going his way. He knows level 1, level 2 Spirit Siphon Cooldowns are massive. That means the uptime for Carl to stay in that lane is a lot lower. You can get some really good damage out, and you can just get going. Rune control can be important.
They're just all chatting. Oh.
He got left hanging, man.
Yeah,
he gave the high five.
Did. He certainly did. Carl, gonna move in. Yopaj, take a bit of damage here from the Spirit Siphons. He's gonna be okay. It is a bit of a rough matchup for the Void Spirit. Against DP, not the greatest time. You are gonna get siphoned quite a bit, and he doesn't have the Dissimulate right now to try and get away from it, so Carl should have the inherent advantage, I believe.
Yeah, it just feels really good for DP. You stand back, you play with Crypt Swarm. Carl is still forced to go Spirit Siphon. He knows that Yopaj wants to play this lane really aggressive, so he's got to have that Spirit Siphon ready. He's got to have that sustain to play against the Void Spirit, and even if you only have level 1 Crypt Swarm, it's still a pretty good time for Carl to keep farming. So rather even, which is good news for Yopaj, but rune control is a much bigger issue, it feels like, for the Void Spirit. And again, you have to expect Boom and T1 to send those supports out. Last time we saw that happen, like in game 1, T1 did have stronger presence out from those two supports at the 4-6 minute mark.
Yeah, and of course that final lane, up at top lane, you are going to have Cuckoo and Zephyr against Jackie and Skem once again. Cuckoo, you'd imagine, should have a pretty good lane here on this Razor along with Zephyr. I said the same thing last game though, and it doesn't really pan out that way. What are you thinking, John? How does this top lane go?
It's pretty hard for Jackie to just feel safe. He does go for a 1-1-1 build. He's going for the value point and time dilation to slow down, the time lock to harass back. But you can't really be aggressive. You can't fully commit yourself onto the Treant or the Razor, although...
Yeah, bot lane, Whitemon, gonna drop. They have plenty of damage with the Stroke of Fate and the Cinder Brew. It's just so hard to get away, and you really can't underestimate how much magical damage that is.
Yeah, it's a lot of burn. And again, there's an opportunity for Jakiro and for Spectre to play aggressive, but you're always going to be targeting out Tims. You're not going to be gunning FBZ. The Brewmaster's way too tanky, and FBZ's always there to cut you off. So even if you manage to land the Jakiro spells, it's not a sure thing that Gabby can come in. You do want to play a farmy game on the Spectre, get that build up. It does look like Gabby is gunning for the Radiance build, so not going for the early Ags.
Ooh. Scam, 30 HP he'll get out on. Very close call here for the Shaman. Not going to be giving away that kill though, back the way of Cuckoo, so definitely good news for Scam. Still, like you mentioned, John, for Jackie, it's a very rough time.
Yeah, it's not smooth going. 12 CS on the board, even behind FBZ. In fact, all the lanes for Boom does feel like it's going a lot slower. T1, despite dropping that death, are ahead on the economy, at least in managing those creeps. So the build-up is coming out for Gabby, the levels are coming out for Carl, the farm's coming out for Cuckoo. And once again, if they hit that critical mass with a couple of early BKBs, Boom does have ways to counterplay, mainly on Chrono. They don't have good follow-up damage for that Chrono until the Void's really up and running. So it doesn't feel like a great solution, even with Chrono, to deal with the BKBs, just because Void takes some time to get damage off.
Yeah, that it does. You haven't really seen any rotations coming out from Carl or Yopaj yet either. Mind you, they are only at the level 5 mark, so you don't really expect them yet. Scam, he's going to show up, but it's just going to be a full bottle out for Yopaj. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Gabby, he was getting jumped. Again, that Cinder Brew damage, it just hurts so darn much. But he will be salved up, he'll get a reset, and he'll be fine. Thing is, FBZ, he'll be looking for a kill now to get those urn charges up on that new urn he has just purchased. And once you have that, it becomes almost impossible to lane against this duo.
Yeah, it just feels really, really oppressive, the constant burn damage. There's not much you can really do on Whitemon anymore. He's just down to a Tango and a Mango. Still stuck at level 2. His output doesn't feel great. They've not been able to play around the slows with the Dagger and the Jakiro Breath. So your window for aggression's kind of gone, and FBZ can just manage the lane one-on-one. Again, you are still getting the farm out for Gabby anyway. So despite not slowing down the Brewmaster, your Spectre's also not too slowing down, and at the end of the day, T1 loves this kind of playstyle. They want to take it slow. As long as their lanes aren't losing, they'll always find a position to build that farm up and go for the late game.
They might go for a bit of a big push here in the mid lane, John. They've got Exorcism up now on Carl. Siege Creep is available. We did see a bit of a group up here with Zephyr. Skem is going to be around to try and help out Yopaj, make sure he can push the creep wave back, and Yopaj does hit that level 6 mark now. Jump in on Carl. Very aggressive kind of jump in, but just wanted the creep wave, I believe, just not allowing him to try and abuse the siege creep. As Carl going to keep going in. Yopaj will astral step right back out. Meanwhile, towards the bottom side of the map, Gabby copying so much damage in the Stroke of Fate. is going to connect, but Gabby is going to be able to survive through it. He'll be fine.
Yeah, again, he's still managing the lane really well, finding the CS despite being so low. They actually haven't really managed to stop the Spectre farm. He's still up there, 34 last hits on the board. Still a lot better than what Jackie's getting. Kind of the same situation we saw in Game 1, right? Like, it was a slower start for Boom. You weren't getting that great safe lane farm you want. And speaking of Jackie's, just constantly being forced away. Lots of aggression out from T1.
That is certainly so. Jackie, chased down as we speak. Zephyr, already used the Nature's Graph to try and slow him down. Wasn't quite enough that time around. Meanwhile, mid lane, Carl still has that siege creep available, but they are going to try and make the jump in. Yopaj, get the Inkswell connection. Carl, dropping low, but not quite low enough. He just kind of Spirit Siphons a creep and is going to be able to survive. Heal himself up as Yopaj going to give him the high five this time around, but Yopaj is trying to send a message. That was the 5-minute siege creep you needed to abuse with that level 6 exorcism, and it never comes out. They've done a great job of holding back.
Yeah, they stopped that potential push that puts a dent in T1 spacing. They are starting to drag some supports towards mid. They do have Whitemon hanging around. Zephyr did take a quick trip down. Does opt to head back top. The static state of the game, I mean, it does look good for Boom, right? 1-0. But T1, again, they're still farming. I don't think it matters too much, even if they miss that tower opportunity.
Nice setup here from Tims. That'll be an easy kill onto Whitemon. The Jakiro does go down. Yopaj got to help out with that one, and once again, I'm kind of worried here a bit for Carl. Like, he's gotten some great net worth going, but you haven't popped Exorcism yet, and there's no structure damage happening.
Yeah, looks like he is gunning for the top. Starting to hook up here with Cuckoo. And that's going to be a really good lane to shove in. Jackie still off to a slow start, still trying to find that Mask of Madness. And your farming pace just doesn't feel great. He's lagging further and further behind Gabby. Gabby's just building up and up and up in that Spectre. And there goes that push. EXO out. They do have the chrono to play with if they want to, but can be a bit tough.
You know, Jackie, just trying to avoid Zephyr right now. Zephyr, not at the level 6 mark yet, but Cuckoo is going to make his way in. Jackie, very patient with the time walk, trying to find the right angle. Will walk. Zephyr, going to chase him down. Meanwhile, Japoi going to show up. They'll go on to the DP. The Exorcism bow still going. Scam, he needs to back out of there, but he's going to drop. A nice start for T1 in this team fight. Still chase down Tims on that Grimstroke. They should have a secondary. As Tims does drop, T1 able to punish the defense to come out from Boom, and they still have some time to just chip away at this T1 top tower.
Yeah, they get the push going. They start to play with the aggression they have on hand with the early haunt. It's a bit of a weird reversal because
defense. Chrono comes out, Jackie. He's caught 3 targets. He's locked FBZ in though. He didn't get the primal split off, but they may not need it. Carl is dropping low. Yopaj, he's in. There's your primal split out. They've got the DP locked down and he's just gone. In fact, Gabby, he needs a way out of this, but the stun is going to connect in the tree line. Gabby will try to juke them out, but Scam is there with the vision. 8th Remnant is going to connect with the shackles out and the dissimulate. They will be able to burst him down, and they somehow protect the top T1 tower.
And that was such a great angle out from Jack. He was just so patient. He didn't look for it in the earlier fight. He's willing to drop the supports to look for that good angle. And they just managed to get it done. They defend their top tier 1. It's still above deny range. They can't just take it out themselves, but that will take commitment from T1 to get back up there. Again, it's a bit of a role reversal. T1 starting to be a bit aggressive, although Zephyr.
Yeah, in trouble. FBZ though, he may have gone a bit too far. Whitemon is going to rotate over on the Jack. FBZ, yeah, he's definitely gone a bit too far. Tips out from Cuckoo. I'll be frank, John, he deserved that one.
Yeah, a bit greedy, you know, trying to go for the treant, and that should give T1 the opportunity now to finally clear top. Scam is around the area, not really going to be able to do much, not even going to go for the deny. So you do manage to get that tower done on T1's end. Boom haven't managed to apply their own tower pressure yet. You know, mid still healthy, bot still healthy. T1 still has a lot of the map under their control, and they start to invade that jungle. This is going to be a bit tough for Jackie and to an extent even FBZ. These two heroes need a lot of farm. Brewmaster, we're eyeing that Ags, we're eyeing the refresh, maybe even Blink down the line. So much gold you have to really have that maximum impact on that hero. And the face is void. Not even the Mask of Madness done yet, so still a lot for Boom to have to wait for. Again, a bit of a role reversal from game 1. T1's the aggressors, Boom having to play a little bit more defensively here, although when they have Chrono, it does look like they're willing to go.
Well, they do spot out Gabby. Yopaj, does he want to make the jump in? I mean, you are still by the bottom tier 1 tower, so the rotation potential from T1 is certainly there if they need it. And in the meantime, T1 already trying to set up for the mid-tier 1 tower. In we go.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
T1, they're going to go for the tier 1 mid tower now. Exorcisms him up. Yopaj, he's going to try and jump in. The Razor already getting caught out. Cuckoo taking so much damage. Yopaj, he does have a way out. Cuckoo may not be so lucky. FBZ going to keep the chase up. Does he have enough to finish Cuckoo off? Not quite, as now Gabby is going to remnant in. They've already found Tim's on the Grimstroke. Yopaj needs a way out himself. Doesn't have any mana. Doesn't have any step charges. There's one available now. FBZ in the meantime still getting chased down. Cuckoo, he'll rejoin the teamfight as Skem. He will hold down Carl. And somehow, boom, they only lose the Grimstroke.
A really good hold considering what that ended up being. They don't manage to really find anything in exchange. They still lose their mid-tier 1, but they made T1 work hard for it. And they're buying space out for Jackie. So it's the same thing that we saw T1 kind of do in game 1. Just stall out for your big core. They have managed to keep that farm game going now. For Jackie to get going, Massive Bandits up and running. Now we have to see that magic come true from Jackie, Mike. He's got to be able to work the map. He's got to be able to catch up here in network, overwhelm Gabby's network, overcome Cuckoo's network, and just become that massive core. For T1, they're about to hit some item timings themselves. BKB for Cuckoo's lining up. They could start to think about the top tier 2 into Roshan. Very big possibility for them. And as this game just keeps going, if you don't hunt Gabby down once more, eventually he'll have that Radiance up and he'll just be a big, big nuisance with a mischance up against Void.
Already inside jungle, Zephyr gonna get caught immediately with the Inkswell. They'll be able to burst one down with the Void Spirit as T1. Well, they do try to find a way to punish, but they're unable to lock down the Void Spirit. Paj is going to be fine, and well, while that was happening, Jackie, he does eventually take care of that bottom tier 1 tower. Mind you, you look at the net worth graph, it's a bit of a rough affair here for the side of Boom Esports. As you see, T1 all the way on top, but Boom, they are slowly making their way back up.
Yeah, it's not too big of a disparity, right? The graphs are fairly even, only really Carl's pulling ahead. So you are doing a great job from Boom to manage this weaker, slightly weaker early game where their presence just isn't as strong. Again, they did have that big chrono opportunity top. It's hard to find those opportunities. T1's been much more on point with how they split themselves up, and they understand Jackie doesn't want to join these fights anyway. He is going for the Maelstrom next. So he's trying to look for that additional attack speed and damage procs in the chrono. And of course, farming speed. So once you have that, it starts to feel better. Playing tag a little bit with Gabby up top. They do have the X, so they see Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie. I mean, he's got the chrono available, but doesn't really want to commit it in this instance. Instead, he'll let Tim's die, and that's fine. It's a 4-hero rotation for a pos 4 Grimstroke. It's not that big of a deal as long as Jackie gets his way out, and well, for the rest of Boom, they're just across the map farming, which is something they desperately need right now. So T1, while they do infiltrate the Dire Triangle, they are not finding the hero pickoffs they want with this timing.
No, and they don't even find any massive stacks. Not many built up by Boom. They've been working the map a little bit more. Jackie's just been farming the bot jungle anyway. So you're not taking too many resources away from his face's Void. Still having that time to meet. And for the side of T1, I think you're fine with that just because Gabby is still farming. Like, he's still saving up for Radiance. You don't really mind. Spectre can always join these fights with Haunt. If you just find a support, that's fine. You just save the Haunt for the next one. So the waiting game is favorable for both sides. I do worry about handling the Spectre down the line, but Boom looks like they're starting to set with their invasions as well, going into that opposite triangle. Don't find anyone themselves. No major stacks as well, though.
Yeah, wipe on first target here. Not the biggest deal for T1 to lose, but we'll end up dropping the Jakiro as Yopaj, once again with the Inkswell combination, has a very easy time to jump in on the supports. They do want to try and go after that T1 mid tower now, I'm sure. They've got the Serpent Wards available on that Shadow Shaman. Zephyr is going to make it rather hard though on that tree. You're going to have the Living Armor, you're going to have the Nature's Grasp to take care of the creep wave, and it's not going to be that easy of an affair for Boom Esports here in the mid-tier 1.
Definitely not. I think for Boom, they might actually want to hold on to the wards just to go for Roshan instead. It feels like a bigger, safer objective to take, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the Living Armor. There is some team fight potential from T1 with a Haunt.
Yeah, he's not having a great time here, Whitemon. Jakiro, not the fastest moving hero in the world, and every time they see him, they will just chase him down for a very free kill.
Yeah, and then just, I mean, it's not, it's as you said, not the biggest kills, but that is racking up for Yopaj. That's racking up for even Tim's to start working on to what he wants as well. And our Void Spirit's reaching a pretty nice point. Yule's up now on Yopaj. He can set up with the Remnants. He can start to isolate these bigger cores before the BKBs come online. And BKBs are about to come online though. Cuckoo, Recipe away. Carl, pretty much Recipe, it's pretty much done, flying out his BKB. So the spell immunity timing is there for T1, but they have to recognize that power spike. Because they had that same timing in game 1. They didn't capitalize on it. If they don't capitalize here, you're playing right into what Boom wants, to build up big on the Void.
I mean, they're still huge in terms of net worth. I think it's a great time for T1 to go, and they will get it done now. T1 gonna wrap around with his smoke, maybe into the Dyed Triangle, but no, they're gonna head down south. Boom, they do get scanned out. Jackie, Yopaj, they're making the jump in onto Gabby, but this could be terrible timing. Meanwhile, FBZ, he does have the Aghanim Scepter. It could be great timing for him. Scam is gonna get jumped. Gabby wants to get rid of the Shaman. Hex is out, Serpentwater down, but he is gonna die. Meanwhile, Tims will follow. They want more though. They found both supports, but can they find Yopaj? There's no step charges available for the Void Spirit. He does get silenced up, and they found him. That's a great kill for T1. That's what you want to see. Not just both supports going down, but rather that mid laner. And with that, T1, they'll move into the bot T1 tower.
I like seeing this aggression. They know they've got a bit of an edge. With the BKBs up, they just fully commit for the fight. Force the issue. Boom doesn't quite have the response. Very staggered. Coming in to jump Gabby. Not respecting the haunt as a disengaged tool, and they get caught off guard by it. Boom. Still need time for Jackie to build up here, Mike. Maelstrom up. Farm is racking up for a Void, but still going to be a bit longer there.
It certainly is. You've seen the replay of that last team fight, and we talked about this during the drafting phase, John, but it's very, very difficult playing these kind of supports into a Spectre. Gabby's been doing a fantastic job every time he pops that ulti at just finding it where both supports are. And he does have the Radiance up, so he's got plenty of damage to deal with both those supports. But now at least, Boom, they just cannot deal with the Spec. Every time that Haunt's available, you just can't fight.
Yeah, they've got to force these fights when they know Haunt's been expended. This is a window for them if they want to go. The mischance is making it pretty hard for Jackie to commit though. Like the burn damage, the burn chance, the burn mischance, and then the evasion on top of it does make the Spec really tanky, and we're a long ways away from seeing Jackie go for something like an MKB. Still working towards his own BKB, still a ways off. T1, all T1 needs to do now is just take a tier 2, perhaps top, take the outpost, secure Roche, and then it starts to feel pretty scary for Boom. Yeah, you've got the Ags up on FBZ. He has been having a lot of impact. It does feel like we need to see his talent tree build up here as well, Mike. The Brewlings are starting to feel pretty squishy against that Spectre, against the DPXO, and against Razor.
Oh, it's not the jump in. Skem does get caught. Carl is going to get stunned up. Yopaj going to protect the Shaman, but not for long. Skem, he's burning out. FBZ, Chrono out. Jackie, he's got 2. Carl in big trouble. The Overgrowth, it'll save for now. Yopaj, he's back in. The DP, though, he's not dying. Spirit Siphons are there. Carl, he'll survive another day. FBZ still trying to chase him down, but they haven't got the damage output. Can they get it? FBZ surely no. Carl, he'll siphon again. Oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Another split out, but Carl, he's going to be very happy with himself there, as they will try to turn around. Maybe he's gone too far this time. Carl, he'll try to reinitiate. Big silence out. Yopaj this time. He's gone too far. The Void Spirit in big trouble. Siphons out. Carl still alive somehow, as they'll chase for a bit more onto Yopaj. The dagger's not going to connect, but they're chasing him down very well, as the Aether Remnant is going to kind of give away that he is still around. Crypt Swarm. Oh, it's right on target. Right on target, and there's your voice lines. Carl, do you want to tip, sir? It's a great time to tip, Carl.
It would be a perfect time. They're having issues with that EHP here, Mike. Damage issues for Boom. Chrono with a double damage. They couldn't get enough. DD on the Void was just not enough to get anything done. And I think the side of T1 are starting to recognize that, yeah, Boom needs way more. We are very strong right now. We're going to run up with our spell immunity, going to run up with this timing we have on Gabby. And Boom, for their part, need to kind of sit back. They need a Spirit Vessel up here, Mike. They need a wave mitigating that region on the on the Death Prophet. Maybe you could go Scotty as well for Jackie, but again, that's so far away. For the next 5 to 10 minutes, just feels like T1's always going to be able to dictate how these fights go.
Oh, it's been an incredible game here for T1, at least for game 2, as they are trying once again to make the jump on Gabby here down at bot lane, but they just don't have the damage. They just don't have enough damage. I mean, Jackie, he's farming BKB, but John, there's an old saying in SCA Dota, BKB, no damage.
It really doesn't. I mean, it gives a little, right? Like, from Mithril Hammer, just not enough.
Literally 0, John.
0 in the eyes of our pub players. Pros know better. At the least, they know better. Still, like, yeah, the BKB is going to be nice, but you are right, though. Where is the damage? Because it doesn't feel like they have control issues right now. It just feels like the output's not enough. Perhaps, you know, saving that BKB for Overgrowth's going to be big. T1 are going for a pretty big smoke around here, though, Mike.
Where are they going? Towards the north they go. Cuckoo, your front line. Who are they going to find? Jackie. He'd be a great target, but the scans are out. They know exactly where they are. Jackie's going to be fine. The smoke. Oh, Cuckoo still having a look. Eventually does give up on it. Immediately, boom, will rotate over to the Void to make sure that he is going to be just fine. Boom in back. They're going to smoke up themselves now. Mid lane, who are they going to find? Gabby, once again, he's a tough target. You haven't got the damage for that man. They'll drop the Serpentwards defensively, trying to block the pathway as Zephyr. He's going to be chased himself now, but the Overgrowth should keep him safe as here come the rotations. Here come the Cavalry T1. They're going to zone in from the backside. Yopaj in trouble already. Cuckoo, he'll drain a bit of damage, but does eventually back off as Zephyr. Somehow still alive. We'll have the Holy Locket. Meanwhile, Gabby, where's he gone? He'll chase them the supports once again. Tims, they are trying to survive with Skem. The Soulbind is going to come out. The Shadow Amulet keeping him alive, but not for long. T1 at least able to find the Grimstroke. And mind you, John, that was a smoke rotation from Boom.
Yeah, they really force out the aggression. Yopaj in the initial jump kind of missed out on the Remnant, so they couldn't get the chain lockdown, and they do want to kill off the Spec. It doesn't feel like they have enough output to really handle that. It just feels like such a tanky hero with the dispersion up, and I think you have to set your eyes elsewhere. Maybe you just manage Cuckoo, maybe you try to isolate Carl, try to stop that sustain out, and maybe at least waste an exorcism. Boom haven't been finding those openings. A 4K lead up now for T1 as they have found ways to start fights. You know, they're coming in, they run up, they're the ones dictating these engagements, and it's Boom that's been responding a little bit more here. You need a lot more time still to build up.
Well, Carl's going to move in. FBZ gets silenced up, doesn't have a way to purge that off. He needs to get the split off, but he can't get it in time. Well, Carl, they're having a very good game, T1. Roshan's up. It's time to go.
You know, still have the Exo running, still a lot of duration on that. With the Arcane Rune as well, so can have a pretty short cooldown on that, go onto the high ground with that Aegis up. Boom do have really good high ground. Every single time we see that Void, high ground defense is one of their shining points, and they could even contest Roche if they make it in time here.
I mean, Yopaj could go for the steal right here. We know he's done it many times before. Roshan, though, not low enough yet. It looks like they won't even risk it. They'll try for the team fight instead. Who are they chasing? They'll find Tims on the Grimstroke. X will be there. Jackie. He'll pop the Chrono onto 2. They'll try for the Zephyr. Cream protect and they'll find it. That's 1 down. Cuckoo now getting bashed up, but the BKB's about to wear off. Jackie, he might move back in. Yopaj, he certainly will. They want the Razor. They might just have him. Primal split out. FBZ, he should have the damage, but Cuckoo still walking away. Here comes Gabby. Here comes Carl. They found Yopaj. FBZ, he's lost all his Brewlings. He'll split back to the main one, but it's not going to be enough. FBZ, he's gone too far. They just don't have the damage, and there's your tip out. There's your tip out from Carl. You love to see it.
Yeah, he's coming out with the tips. He's been more patient, not tipping so early on. But T1 are feeling it now. Great team fight coming out. It did cost them a buyback out from Zephyr, but the Overgrowth was very impactful at the end. They know that once Chrono's gone, Boom doesn't have the best ways of running up anymore. Like, yeah, BKBs fade, but you're not at the point where you can just consistently get the Ink Swells off anymore. Combine that with your Void Spirit jumping around, and it gives a massive opportunity for T1 to just get that ball rolling. So secondary life up for Gabby. He's working towards the Ags now, Mike. Even more uptime on that Haunt, because that's still a thing.
Look at
they
this.
can look at that fight again.
How did Yopaj die? Silence came out. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage, Gabby. He's hitting like a truck right now. With the Desolate, it's just too much.
Yeah, and that overgrowth at the end, locking in Yopaj just for that one last attack, not giving him the opportunity to jump away, did manage to snag him that kill. So the buyback from Zephyr ended up paying off. 15-8, 7k lead for T1. Boom. I mean, it just feels like they need to play for time. You have to maybe accept that you're going to lose some tier 2s at this point. You have to accept that you need way more in your Faceless Void to get going. You need way more, even on your Brewmaster. Like, the refresh has to come out. Spirit Vessel still has to come in as well for FBZ. Yopaj, one part away from the Ags. That could be the turning point. Early way to force out some BKBs, retreat, rewind for the next fight.
Well, T1 gonna go for that bottom tier 2 tower. Jackie trying to farm up an Eye of Skadi right now, but again, damage is lacking.
Radiant's top tower is under
T1,
attack.
nothing to be afraid of. They'll just keep going.
Is under attack.
They understand how powerful they are at the moment. And Gabby
Radiant's top tower
gonna have the X up himself, John. That's a scary, scary time.
is under
If you are one of these supports of Boom, I mean, it's already been so rough for them. Now you just have a guaranteed way of picking off anyone across the map,
under attack.
especially when that axe is there. They might not even need it, John. They're onto the tier 3 bottom tower now. T1 looking for that draw here against Boom Esports. See if they can slow this down or defend. Yopaj will get the ink swell back into the backside. Not going to be able to connect on anyone. Not a great start for Boom. They'll hold down the Spectre. But the Shaman is going to have to back off as Gabby. He'll just keep going. He's got the secondary life anyway. There's your Chrono out. They want Carl on the DP. They'll drop everything, but they've got the roots out. Jackie still trying to get it done. Carl, he can't survive this time around. He's gone. It's a 4v5 situation. In fact, make that a 4v4. They've got the Shaman. They've got Tim's down. Yopaj, he's going to back out of there, but Gabby, he's all over him. Dissimulate out. Cuckoo, he's got that damage right by the fountain. Tim's, he will drop another time. That's a dieback, but Jackie, he'll get the bash. Mid TP out. They might at least find the Razor. FBZ, have they gone too far here on T1? Or have they not, Jonathan? They are still fighting. They're almost thinking about fountain diving here. They are going to back off. FBZ going to try and hold them back as Scam's going to die back as well. Oh, that's terrible. Tips out again for Yopaj. Carl's really giving it to him, John, as FBZ gets caught out. He's the fourth. It's just Jackie left. He touches the rewind button. It's not going to be enough. Jackie's gone.
Oh,
no buyback available. Tips out for T1. Is that just it?
They're still protected from Megas. Tier 2 still stand there, Mike. So their high ground's not under immediate threat. Boom still has something to play for. The game's gotten infinitely harder, though. And they kept forcing that fight in. I do like that Jackie is focusing on these bigger heroes, but he doesn't have the items to get that damage done. He popped his BKB way too early. Right before the overgrowth came out, he had to pop BKB. Didn't catch Zephyr in that chrono, so that opportunity came out. And then all those small things, when you're reliant on that void to do damage, is just adding up. Like, you don't have that play in the chrono. You don't have a hero that just stands outside, does damage, like, say, Alina, to kind of contribute there. You don't have those combinations, so it's all in on just Jack.
Oh my goodness, look at Tim's. He'll Glimmer Cape in time, but it just, the amount of damage. He used Haunt and the Shadow Step, and he just melted it.
Yeah, it just rips through, and those supports, as you said, Mike, they're not very durable. So you've got to watch yourself there on Boom. High ground still being pure to Yopaj.
Jump in, they're going to try and deal with Gabby, but again, he's got that secondary life available. Aegis is still up. They've got to try and find the backside. It's just not that easy. You see how long it takes them to try and take down Carl. He's got his BKB up. Exorcism popped. Confident days, there's your Chrono though. Jackie, he's going to give it his best shot. On to the DP they go. Maybe they have the damage this time. Carl still dropping, does end up going down. Onto Cuckoo, they want that Razor. Jackie, he should have the bashes. He should have the control, but a great ice path. Whitemon onto 3, as now Gabby will jump in with the Haunt out, but has he gone too far? They'll tornado him up. Meanwhile, FBC, Zephyr jumping in. Another great ice path out from Whitemon. It's complete chaos in the mid lane. Yopaj, he does pick off the Zephyr's Dream Protector, but now he's in big trouble. Gabby will try to chase him down. There's another ice path out from Whitemon. He just can't miss. Is it just me, John, or is it cold in here?
Sure is getting chilly in that high ground of Boom. And Whitemon's been on point with landing that control. Boom do still hold on to their high ground, though. They manage to play well enough. They get another good chrono out. Great double shackles out as well with the soul bind. And they hold on to those mid racks. They lose the tier 3. Rack still intact. That means that they can still keep trying to play. The Scotty eventually gonna form up here for Jackie, mitigating that healing coming out onto our DP in particular. It still does feel like handling the Spectre is just a task that's very, very difficult right now for Boom. Right, like you're inching towards that refresh now in FBZ. You've got the Ags up on Yopaj. He does need that BKB for protection. So some of these items are coming online, but now it's starting to go to that point once more for Boom where it has to be executed nearly perfectly considering this network disadvantage. They've got to be on point with the Chronos. They've got to be able to back up Jackie, and FBZ has to be as disruptive as possible on that backline here.
Yeah, he does. He's been trying his absolute best, but the Brewlings, John, they just haven't been surviving. Within that Exorcism, within the Spectre Illusions, it's just so much damage flying out. And now, into the mid lane they go. They found Japoi. They want the Void Spirit, but he's going to be fine to dissimulate out. Mid racks, though, under siege once again. How do you defend without Chrono up? They need 15 seconds for the Chrono to be available, so Yopaj is going to make the jump in onto the Spectre. With the stun out, they'll just chip away. This time, Gabby does not have Aegis, so he will need to be a little bit more cautious with his positioning. As they'll pop the BKB on Cuckoo, they'll make sure they get the mid racks. That's going to be enough for them. They'll play for next Roshan.
Play for next Roche, play for the next high ground siege. The side of Boom, pretty solid defense, all things considered. They managed to get some good chip damage away. The area denial of T1 is just really shining. Whitemon again, good macro power in between, forcing Yopaj to not be able to jump in and commit. And it's just starting to feel like it's all in and trying to get some big chronos. Jackie is inching towards that Scotty. It should be done after this Ancient Camp clears out. That is going to leave him without buyback. So it's a massive risk. It does feel necessary for Boom to take that risk. Even with buyback, the Void doesn't feel useless. Doesn't feel useful, that Faceless Void.
Yeah.
He has to find that damage in the chrono now. So we'll see if they will find that opportunity. Roshan, timer, 10 seconds away until we see that respawn.
Ooh,
And both sides are smoking.
fight. This could be the last one, John. No buyback available on Jackie. T1, they just need one more good fight. FBZ going to see them, but a quick blink up from Zephyr. T1, they'll reposition, but they're still looking very confident as Jackie jumps in. There's your two-man Chrono. Overgrowth's not going to connect Jackie. He's got free reign in this Chrono. Cuckoo in big trouble. Somehow still alive. Inkswell out. They've got the damage this time, but Gabby, he's the main problem on the Spectre. They'll tornado him up. Meanwhile, Japoi, he's been caught out. No step charges available. Just trapped up. Is going to go down surely, or have they left him? No, he's alive. Japoi, he's somehow out of there. Oh, Zephyr.
With what? What?
Zephyr doesn't have the damage.
Japoi, he makes it out. Barely in the nick of time, does survive. They are still playing tag. FBZ will manage to TP out here as well. No, does get stunned up, and FBZ.
Easy. Oh, he's going to try for the split. He committed the refresher orb, John. He's going down without buyback.
Yeah, that's a good kill coming out from T1. You managed to take away the big aspect in these team fights now from Boom's end. Let's cause them, a bit of a buyback from Cuckoo, but not the biggest deal in the world. Roshan is up. So T1 could play for that, knowing that there's no disruptive elements left, and knowing that the Chrono's still down for a minute 10. There's no counterplay from Boom. 2 lives up, free Ag Shard as well. Inside of T1 should start to find that footing now onto the last set of racks, onto that tier 2, into the high ground.
Yeah. Here we go again, Roshan. I mean, I don't think Boom can allow this to go the way of T1, but it seems like they've got no choice in the matter. It's happening way too fast. T1 gonna happily take the shards and Aegis. Gabby will probably just take the Aegis once again. Shards? Gem? Anyone? Whitemon? It's always the supports that have to do it, John. They always have to pick up the trash that was left behind.
That is true. I'm curious about, like, the shard. Who do you think they maybe just give it to Zephyr? Oh. No, just haunting around. Cuckoo was holding on to that shard. I don't know if the Storm Surge is really useful here. I mean, it's pretty nice, I guess. It's his old passive.
Yeah.
On Razor, so,
It's something.
It's something.
Better than nothing, Jonathan. But, well, currently is nothing because it's in the backpack. So I guess it's not better than nothing.
It's getting scary though. You've got the Basher up now on Gabby, so you can just chain stun as well through the BKBs. Boom, they've got to do something special for this high ground defense. Got to be perfect with the Chronos and all the follow through here, Mike.
Yeah, Haunt and Shadow Step now back up, so these poor supports on Boom, they are in for a very, very rough time. Skem actually across the map right now. He's not even in the base. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be near this Spectre, but I don't think you can hide Skem. It doesn't matter where you go. Gabby's always watching. It's Gabby. He'll hold out for the Haunt for now. I mean, quite frankly, John, I reckon if he just pops it, he'll probably get at least 1-2 kills. Again, onto the supports, but he won't use it yet. He'll wait for the next team fight. In fact, it seems like they're in no rush. Gabby even going to go farm up a little bit more, so not looking to rush towards the top lane to push in that final lane of barracks. Boom Esports, I'm sure they'll be very thankful for that time.
They've got time to build up. They've got time to regroup.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Jackie being caught out. Skem going to save the day with the Shaman. Jackie, though, will go for a bit of a run. Gabby still on the chase, still with the basher, but not getting lucky. He won't chase any further. But no, they know Jackie is down to the bot lane. They might start pressuring top lane here for T1. In fact, everyone from Boom's not around to defend this base at the moment. They've got to get back. T1. Oh, they're not going to rush. It's like Yopaj, he's going to be around with the Void Spirit to try and defend this. Is that ward going to be a bit of a bait? Gabby will take care of it, no problem. There we go. Tier 3 tower, top lane. They'll try Skem. Immediately being jumped on here, but we'll be able to force staff away. They can't blow off the Shaman quite yet as Gabby gonna move in, but there's your Chrono. It's all about Carl. Overgrowth is out though, locking down the Void. He cannot hit Carl at the moment, so it's free reign for T1 to turn around. They've got Jackie down. He's got buyback available, but they've got no Chrono. In they go towards a fountain. Buyback's being committed by Boom, but how do you defend this?
I mean, without the Chrono, it just feels like you can't.
Oh, Jackie's copping the tips now, John. FBZ's getting jumped on. Just so much damage here for Boom. FBZ, he'll get a second primal split off. Gabby into the backside. He's got Tim's down. Skem is gone as well. It's not looking good for Boom. They are still trying. Gabby is getting low. They're still trying to just chip away, get at least the Aegis down. But Gabby, he's got so much sustain. This man just does not believe in dying. As FBZ, he's into the backside, onto the Razor. Cuckoo dropping low. Does eventually go down. Meanwhile, Shackle's out on Carl. They'll try to deal with the DP, but Cuckoo is eventually going to drop a Zephyr. Will drop as well. Boom. Are they doing it? Are they defending their base? Back with the Tornado. Out onto Gabby. There goes Jackie in the backside. Onto Whitemon. It's a 3v4 situation here. Boom have the advantage. Carl, he's getting too low. They've diven too deep. They'll take down another. Here we go. Gabby, the only one left in the base right now. Zephyr's trying to make his way back over, but they've got unlimited control. They've got Gabby down without buyback, but they are up against Mega Creeps. They're against Megas, but they have a chance.
You know what would make this really Southeast Asian, Mike? This is when you all chat on T1s and then say defend. That's it. You know, it's like, oh, okay, go defend, fine. You killed us there, great job. What are you gonna do now? You are 14k behind on Boom's end. T1's still in a really good position. You are getting that build up now on Jackie. He's catching up onto Carl. Still a fair bit behind Gabby's net worth. But they have nothing to play for. There's no Roshan to take here for Boom to kind of solidify their position. They have to eat through a tier 1 mid. There's still tier 2s on every single lane.
Oh, look at this.
There's just no options here.
There's a T1 mid still standing. Yeah. Jeez. It's rough. There's no chance going high. Look at this Zephyr. He'll just commit the overgrowth. Just not gonna let Jay. Look at this.
Oh my.
He's just dragging it out. He's just buying more time for Gabby to be back up, and Gabby, he's having a great laugh to himself about it.
Yeah, they're stalling, and there's just nothing on the map, Mike. You take the tier 1, so what? You can't go for the tier 2s at that point. Roshan's still a mile away. T1 would have to make major mistakes for Boom to really bounce back. They need to repeat that sort of fight on that fountain dive. You know, they kind of need to just go look for a good Chrono once more, get the damage focused in, dance around him a bit, kite around the Spectre if possible, and run from there. Respawns are fairly short. Kuka's already back up. Gabby not too far off. The tier 2s feel impossible to take. They will at least maybe just go for a bit of a warding run. But Roche, I mean, there's just nothing. I'm not sure what you can really do except just farm. T1 gonna go smoke up. They can just haunt around with the Spectre again.
Yeah, they're gonna try T1. They want to put a lid on this game right here, right now. Buybacks are rather low for both teams, but But you've only got your Page buyback available right now for Boom, so if you can find a couple kills, it's basically as good as GG, at least for T1, to finish off this game, as they are going to try and loop around into the Dire base, but they need a way in. They're not feeling too safe to just walk up blindly. Keep in mind, FBZ, you'll have the Refresher all back up now, so you are going to have 4 charges of Primal Split very soon. He does also end up buying a Radiant, so that's a nice way of being able to deal with the Mega Creeps for the Brewmaster. So they are planning to try and defend this as best as possible. And again, we did talk with Boom earlier. They need the 2-0 victory right here to feel a bit safer about their group stage standing. Naturally, T1, I mean, these two teams are rivals right now in the SEA scene. They don't want to give that over.
Definitely not. Again, historically, every single time these teams go up against each other, it's at least a 1-1 by game 2.
Yeah.
You know, it always goes that way, and then it's the game 3 decider. So in a best of 2 like this, where that 2-0 or 1-1 difference counts in a big way, it kind of makes it tough for these teams. You know, it just feels like neither one's ever going to find that 2-0. Boom, in a very tough position to try to find that here, Mike. They are still trying. They're going to have this. They have the refresh up on Jackie, so double chrono available, or at least the option to buy back after first chrono if you do die and have the gold. You do have that play now for Boom. Still working against the Mega Creeps here, and their backs are against the wall. They have been doing a good job of shoving out the waves at the least, making T1 work into that high ground. Smoke play from T1 doesn't quite pay off. They've still got all the tools under their belt. They still have Haunt, they still have the Shadow Step as well, and they have a lot of options in just going in. They could hold out until next Roshan, which we'll find out in about 25 seconds when it'll be up. So no rush, and they've got the entire map in their hand.
They do. The T1 still a huge advantage here. 12k net worth lead, Mega Creeps against Boom, but you know when you get that feeling, John, that the game's just not over? You might see something special here, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen this many, many times in the SCA DPC. These Mega Creep comebacks, they tend to happen more often than you'd think. Keep your eyes peeled as T1. They're looking for that draw here, but it's not over yet. Abyssal Blade to come out soon on Gabby. That'll certainly help the cause. What else are we having, though? Shiver's Guard on Carl. That'll definitely help. Cuckoo. Nothing queued up yet for him. You've got the Guardian Greaves coming out on Zephyr for a bit more sustain. That's always going to be quite nice. And well, for Whitemon, he's got nothing queued up either, Jonathan, but he just needs to spam Ice Path, and he's been doing a great job of it.
Yeah, just keep getting that control off. The BKBs are pretty low now on both sides. So the Ice Path can be really devastating in that choke point in the high ground as we saw before, getting chilly for Boom.
Smoke up, Johnny's got double chrono available. They might commit one to just pick off one target. Zephyr. It's going to be around to cut off this smoke here from Jackie, but not going to happen yet, and they will see Gabby TPing in. They just wanted to get some wards down. Problem is, Roshan's back up. Aghanim Scepter available, Cheese available, Aegis more importantly available, and it doesn't seem like Boom are going to try and fight this.
Yeah, I think they understand it's a massive risk. Despite even just having double chrono, they've got Surrender It. 3 Ags coming out here as well. So, Cuckoo with the Ags, and your Ancient's going to be gone, Mike. I don't know if you can even hold with a refresh up on Cuckoo as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be able to focus down the Carl DP and the Cuckoo Razor here to try and protect that Ancient. And then you've got creeps to worry about, you've got Gabby to worry about. It's not an easy scenario now, and oh boy, it's tough. If they can pull off this, it'll be a darn miracle, Jonathan, let me tell you. See what they can do. Steve 1, they are still in no rush to try and make their way over. Shiver's Guards, multiple being built up here on Boom Esports to try and just slow down the Mega Creeps coming in. Mjolnir being built up on Jackie to have a bit more damage, and of course, again, against the Megas, very, very effective. Skem, looks like he's just trying to go for a Glimmer Cape. This man just wants to survive, and well, Tim's, he's currently AFK in base, it seems. He's chilling out. Why they're holding on? And we go, though. T1, Jackie. We'll get back. He's got the rewind button. Deshawn's up, but Jackie, can he get jumped? Bash is there. They lock him down. Abyssal Blade is out, but it's not enough yet. Even with the silence, Jackie is going to be able to go for a reset back in the fountain. FBZ, he'll pop the Primal Split. Tornado out onto the Spectre. Just hold him in the air as they want Cuckoo first. BKB is going to be forced, but there's Jackie. He'll jump in with the Chrono. It's onto Carl. Overgrowth is out. Jackie, he'll refresh. He needs another. Carl, he'll eat the cheese. Jackie, he's taking too much damage. They've silenced him up. He'll get the time walk just in time. He'll survive. But now the tier 4 towers are under siege. Boom. They've got to be desperately defending this one as they'll Tornado up the Spectre once again with FBZ as Gabby. He'll move in onto Skem. He wants that Shaman. Another Tornado. But they've got the Shaman down. Onto Cuckoo they go. FBZ still trying. So is the Idol. Yopaj so close yet so far. They can't take Cuckoo out. Another Primal split here from the Brewmaster. They'll refresh onto the Razor. Can they finally get him? Cuckoo, how is he still alive? He'll finally drop, but now Yopaj is gone. He'll buy back. Jackie, they've got to protect that Ancient. There's your Chrono out. Onto Carl again. They need the DP dead. Carl gonna get locked out with V8, the Remnant. Ice Path gonna try and protect, but he's in trouble. Carl, he'll get the Siphons onto the Jakiro White Mod. He'll drop, but the Ancient, it's still exposed. Japoi, he'll try to protect, but now Jackie's gone. No buyback available. T1, they'll get FBZ. GG's called. Japoi's seen enough. It's gonna be another draw for Boom Esports, and they are not safe. They are not safe here on Boom. You can see their faces, John. They are not looking happy.
No, definitely not. T1 does bounce back in really strong form. They take the aggression in this game. They start playing around a lot faster. They have really strong lanes coming through. They play around and push. They force the issue really early on. And for the side of Boom, they just take it slow. You know, they go for the Faces Void. They go for the farming game. They get that build up.
Carl.
Yeah,
he's happy, John. He doesn't look happy, but he's happy. Look, there it is. There it is. Did you see that time I tipped your punch?
I mean, it did pay off in the end. You know, they did manage to get it working. I think big issues there for Boom. They went for the Shadow Shaman and Grimstroke support duo. It's one of those things. You love to point this out when Tims does play these more passive fours.
Yeah.
It's not something he's playmaking on. It's not his Hoodwink. It's not his Mirana. Not even like his Monkey King.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get to dictate the game as much as he would on those heroes. And then that puts the burden of play onto FBZ and Yopaj. Not even on Jackie, because Jackie's just farming Void. So it's only two heroes that can really play around. And even FBZ, you have to shove him aside because he's working on Ags, he's working on Refresh. So that just left Yopaj for the first almost 15 minutes of the game.
It did, John.
It's just those three heroes that could play, whereas for T1, they had a Spectre that could haunt in, they had a Razor that didn't need much, they had a DP, two really good supports in team fights. And Boom just didn't have a great response for that aggression this time around.
No, they certainly didn't. You saw how hard they were trying. I mean, FBZ, he had 4 primal splits that last team fight. How long was Gabby in the air for? That's my question. I would love, I don't think we have a stat on that, sadly, but I would love to know how long he was tornadoed throughout that last team fight. I mean, it just felt like he was gone forever. And even then, just the sustain. Props to Zephyr, John. We didn't talk about the Zephyr Tree, but how much healing did this man provide? Let's see a stat here. It should be here. 23k healing.
Ooh,
that is not easy as a Treant Protector, John.
No.
23k.
That's a huge amount. And he had such great press, not just in the healing, his overgrowth timing too. Seeing when Jackie pops that BKB early, not being caught in the chrono, and getting the breakup. It's massive.
Look at this, Jonathan. I mean, T1, they played as a solid unit this time around. Gabby 12, 2, and 20. It's hard to choose an MVP in this game. It really, really is quite difficult. I kind of lean towards the supports this time. I really want to say Zephyr. You pointed this out, but how many times throughout the chronos did he get that overgrowth off and Jackie just did nothing?
Yeah.
Even in that last team fight, same thing happened. And just the Guardian Greaves, the living armor, every single time he was just saving the day. I think Zephyr's got to be the MVP of this game too.
Definitely. I think Zephyr's up there. Whitemon has a case too here as well, Mike.
Right.
Those ice walls, ice pats on the high ground fights, every single one landing.
Yeah.
How do you do that on Jakiro? You don't tend to see that a lot.
It's
and
not
he
easy.
landed every single one in that one engagement and just really allowed him to focus in on that mid, take the melee racks back off safely, and not give Boom any openings. Boom just weren't able to capitalize on anything because there were no mistakes made by T1.
I'll tell you what, John, it was a great hype series here between Boom and T1, but we are getting it off to a very, very short break, and hopefully we'll be back very, very soon to look at some post-game analysis. We'll see you then.
love it, you wear it. What's your style? Get your merch at shop.eslgaming.com.
You were here at the request of Iceman. He seems to think that you have something left to offer the Navy.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
What the hell? Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
I intend to push your limits. Show me what you're made of.
Nice.
Having any fun yet?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are into, well, we're not into anything right now, John. We're back for post-game analysis here, but what a great series it was between Boom Esports and T1. It is MLP Dota and Dronic Spire once again, Jonathan. It was a great game too. I mean, that was a real hype game too. It did seem like Boom were trying their absolute best to try and make the comeback against the Mega Creeps. Sadly, we're not going to have an interview because, you know, the SEA players interviews harder than the actual game. So forget about that. We don't need the interview. We'll do the interview. Jonathan, what did you think about the game?
You know, I felt like it went pretty damn well for T1. They come running out of the gates much faster. They had a really good lane for Carl to play with. Yopash was doing good work, but not enough to overcome that DP lane. And I think the key thing for T1 was that early aggression. They managed to just keep forcing these fights out. They had such high EHP on all their heroes. Like Razor's a tanky hero, DP's tanky, Spectre's tanky. You didn't have that big burst on hand from Boom. The fights just felt so drawn out. You had Void who had to take so much time in farming, and it just felt like every single time T1 would just survive.
It was really just fantastic. Like the sustain they had, and this is why you and I said Zephyr's probably just the MVP, because he goes for the mech, ends up getting Guardian Greaves, the Living Armor on top of that. Even the healing on Living Armor isn't even great anymore. It's probably just more so the bonus armor you're getting from both the mech and Guardian Greaves, and as well as that, of course, the Living Armor. you just can't kill anybody. Against Jackie on the Void, it's all basically physical damage he's trying to pump out. They just didn't have enough.
Yeah, it always felt like it wasn't enough, and you did see some shining moments from Boom. Like, they did manage to get a pretty decent counterfight up top here, being dived by the Fountain, though. They already lost all their racks. And again, it's at this point where if Carl could all chat, he would just say defend. That's all he'd say. Def.
Well,
Defna.
he could have, John, but I think he was having too much fun tipping with the voice lines. So you usually see they are taking them down right now. This was the comeback, though. They did go a bit too far after getting the Megas. They did end up taking them out, full team wipe, but you saw that mid-attempt push. I mean, Jackie ran down the mid lane. You see the mid-tier 1 tower? That's demoralizing.
Oh, yeah.
On top of that, the living armor was there to make matters worse. You weren't getting through that tower fast enough.
Oh, no, and even then, Zephyr was doing a good job. Just overgrowth to stop him, and then just getting
Yeah,
the right
he
click
was.
off out of the invisibility as well to get another root. Like, Jackie just couldn't do anything, and they had no objective to play for. The timing was just very awful for Boom. T1 played him like a fiddle in that game, too. And it's like we said, whenever we see T1 and Boom play against each other in the CDPC or in even other tournaments, it always goes 1-1 by game 2. No matter who wins game 1, the other side finds an answer by game 2.
They certainly do, John. I guess you'd kind of hope for a game 3 here, but that is not the case. These are best of 2s. You do not get a chance at a game 3 until you get to the playoffs. Boom Esports, they're not going to have that luxury here in this series. So another draw here for Boom. I believe they were saying the O's in Boom stand for 1-1, which it makes enough sense, I suppose, considering they get another 1-1. So interestingly enough, we do have another series coming up for Boom Esports. This time, though, it's going to be the grand finals of that previous tournament in Dubai between Boom and Tundra. And that's going to be hype.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm looking forward to see how Tundra's adjusted, how Boom's adjusted since then. Because it was pretty damn close the last time we saw those two teams. And, you know, Tundra's a very exciting team as well. Of course, no bias here, but Boom is Boom.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to see what they do bring out. I mean, it just feels like Boom gets caught off because of that shift in meta, right? Like, Tundra just drafts such weird things. They love their Abaddon support. They love their Monkey King. They love their Gyrocopters still. So I'm keen to see how far has Mushi dug up to really figure that out here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, they did end up pulling out the victory against Tundra last time around, but it's not that easy in a best of 2 to get a 2-0 victory. The chances are you might end up in another draw. And again, we did have a talk with Zach earlier this morning. He is a little bit worried about getting all these draws going. He needs those score lines to get higher, to get a nice upper bracket start in the playoffs. And although the group standings don't look so bad for them, the problem is the potential of other teams getting 2-0 victories.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it gets scary. I don't think Boom is scared of getting knocked out before the playoffs. I don't think that's what the fear is. But you don't want to start in lower bracket. If you can avoid it, you'd rather go on a run throughout the upper bracket. It's much safer, much easier to get through to the grand final. And if you have to go to the lower bracket, I mean, I know the old saying, lower bracket, you know, upper bracket is for bitches. I get it, Jonathan. It's not so bad being that way, though, is it? You'd rather just go upper bracket.
Oh, for sure, especially since, you know, I think if we had the old DPC system where you had seeded teams already waiting in playoffs, that's where you start to